So ADA is currently testing out some key levels once again, which is this low trend line and this key level at 74.6 cents. And if ADA was to break this level at around 74 cents, then that would then mean that we have a WXY structure that's forming. And I mentioned in my previous video how I was looking at for a move to the upside where ADA could potentially tap into this region here between 79 to 80 cents, where we have a potential WXY structure that's forming. And so even if we do get a deeper move to the downside where we break this low, it's possible that this WXY structure could complete the X wave, and then we get to see that bounce to the upside where we then potentially tap into this region here. And so just to draw that out for you, I'm looking at for this move here that I've talked about, and within this X wave, we have this WXY structure that's forming. And then I'll be looking at for a move to the upside where we can then begin to track our wave Y. And so what I'll do is within this wave Y, I will check to see where it could potentially reach. And you can see that ADA has the potential to reach anywhere between 74 to, well, anywhere between this region here, between that 1 to 1.226 retracement level. And so, yeah, it's possible that we could go even deeper. And so if I go on the 5-minute chart and see what's going on within this structure. So using the fib tool, and bring that to over here, what you can see is we ended up extending beyond the 1.236 retracement level. And so ADA has the potential to actually reach the 1.618 retracement level. And should that be the case, then it's possible that we have a 5-wave move within the Y wave. And so could have something to this effect where we then potentially tap into this region. And then essentially we have a WXY switcher. And yeah, within that Y wave, we have a 5-wave move like so. Now, ideally, what I'd also like to see is for ADA to hold another key level. So if I go back to the hourly chart, that key level is this one here at around 72.77 cents. And you can see that smart money concept is indicating that we have a weak low. And so on the hourly chart, we are looking slightly bearish. And if ADA was to break this low, then that would then mean that we have a deeper move to the downside that's in play. And this is something that I talked about previously, where I mentioned how we have two scenarios in play, where one of which is bullish, where I was looking out for ADA to tap into this region here between 89 to 94 cents, and potentially the upper target or upper trend line. And the other scenario could be the bearish one, where we have a potential WXY structure that's forming, where ADA could then potentially tap into this region here between 66 to 69 cents. And so it's possible that we have this move that's playing out, where we have a WXY structure like so. But of course, for this to happen, then ADA would need to break this level at 72 cents. But ideally, I'd like ADA to hold this position. And also, you can see that this target actually sits within a fair value gap, which has the potential to be filled in at some point. And so, yeah, I will be looking at for a move towards this region here. But then ultimately, I am looking at for a bigger move to the upside, where we then potentially tap into this region. And for the bearish scenario to also be in play, what usually tends to happen is whenever you have a lower trend line, if we get rejected and we see a move to the downside, we tend to see a retracement towards that lower trend line once again. And then if we get rejected, then that could confirm that we are bearish, and then we see a deeper move to the downside where we then see low lows. And so that scenario could be playing out also. But again, I am looking at for this level. And if ADA was to hold this level, then it's possible that we see a bigger move to the upside. And in fact, if I was to zoom in, what you can see is we did get rejected at the lower trend line, and we saw a move to the downside, but then ultimately we ended up seeing a breakout to the upside. And so a similar scenario could play out where we retest this lower trend line and we see a breakout to the upside, where we then potentially tap into this region also. And it's worth noting that on the hourly chart, we are oversold, and the same can be said on the 4-hour chart and on the daily chart. And even though we have seen some moves to the downside, we have seen higher lows. So if I use this trend line, and you can see that we have had higher lows, and so we're not necessarily bearish. And we actually ended up finding support at these EMA levels also, which confirms that we are actually bullish. And so, yeah, we are oversold on the hourly chart, 4-hour chart, and on the daily chart. And so, ideally, I like to see the bulls regain control of the market and, continue to drive the price of ADA up towards these upper targets that I'm keeping an eye out for. So, yeah, that's just my update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully, you found it useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.